One day, something shifts. Not outside of you, inside. You wake up and say, enough is enough. Enough waiting. Enough wishing. Enough excuses. Because life hasn't changed. But you're tired of living the same year, over and over again. You finally realize, if it's going to get better, you must get better. Circumstances won't change on their own. People won't suddenly improve. Luck won't knock on your door. Change begins when tolerance ends. When you stop accepting what you've been accepting. When you stop explaining what needs correcting. That's the day life turns. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Today. Because now you've decided enough is enough. There comes a moment in life when talking is no longer enough. When wishing stops working and dreaming loses its charm. Most people wait too long to change, too long to grow. They wait for motivation. They wait for the right time. They wait for circumstances to improve. And while they wait, life quietly passes by. The cost of staying the same is silent, but it is not invisible. It drains confidence. It erodes potential. It steals opportunities. You see, change doesn't start with strategy. It starts with awareness. The moment you see the truth, that your current path isn't taking you where you want to go. That moment is your wake-up call. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be painful. But most often, it is. Pain is a teacher. Sometimes quiet. Sometimes loud. You feel it in your health. You feel it in your relationships. You feel it in your bank account. And, most of all, you feel it in yourself. When pain becomes stronger than comfort, you finally move. Most people ignore that signal. They cover it with excuses. They soothe it with distractions. And the cycle continues. But you can decide differently. You can stop waiting, stop explaining, stop tolerating mediocrity. Because enough is not a word. It's a decision. The decision to say, I will no longer accept the life I have because it is easier. I will no longer settle for excuses. I will no longer wait for someone else to save me. That is the moment when everything changes. It's not a magic pill. It's not a sudden gift from fate. It is a wake-up call, a quiet, persistent truth that whispers, change now or regret later. And make no mistake, regret is heavier than change. It weighs on your confidence. It clouds your judgment. It traps you in cycles of what if. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is often the moment they answer that call. The moment they acknowledge, enough is enough. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for perfect timing. They act. Even small action matters. Even imperfect action moves the needle. Because momentum comes from decision, not from energy, not from luck. The wake-up call may arrive softly. A missed opportunity, a disappointing result, a conversation you can't ignore, or it may arrive loudly. A failure, a loss, a life-altering moment you cannot avoid. Either way, it is unavoidable if you choose to notice it. And once you notice, you must respond. The question is simple. Will you continue to tolerate what isn't serving you, or will you rise? The truth is this. Change begins the moment you accept responsibility. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop pointing fingers. You look in the mirror and you say, this starts with me. That is when enough truly becomes enough. It is the moment you stop hoping for miracles and start creating them. It is the moment when the silent cost of staying the same becomes too loud to ignore. It is the moment when you learn the most powerful lesson of all. Pain can either destroy you or it can be your greatest teacher. And the choice is always yours. Will you let life happen to you? Or will you take the first step toward what you were meant to become? Remember, the wake-up call is not a threat. It is a gift. It tells you where you are. It shows you what you've tolerated. It points to the life you are capable of living, if only you choose to act. So today, if you feel the stirrings of discontent, if you feel the whisper of, this isn't enough, answer it. Decide. Because every great change begins with a single, undeniable truth. Enough is enough. And now, it's time to change. There comes a moment that is quiet, but it is loud enough inside your soul that you cannot ignore it. It whispers. It nudges. It shakes your heart until you listen. That moment is the moment you've had enough. Not the moment someone told you to. Not the moment life made it obvious. But the moment you decide. You see, most people confuse desire with decision. They say, I want a better life. I want to be successful. I want to change. But wanting is easy. Deciding is hard. Wanting requires no courage. Wanting requires no commitment. Deciding does. Deciding is a line drawn in the sand. It is saying, I will no longer accept this. I will no longer make excuses. I will no longer tolerate stagnation. And that moment is more powerful than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. It is fleeting. It depends on circumstances. Decision is permanent. Decision creates action. Decision shapes destiny. When you decide you've had enough, everything changes. Suddenly what once felt impossible feels achievable. Suddenly fear becomes a companion, not a jailer, because the fear of staying the same now outweighs the fear of change. At first, the decision feels small, almost invisible, just a quiet whisper. I'm done. I won't accept this anymore. But make no mistake, that whisper grows. It grows into momentum. It grows into results. And the first actions you take after that decision are always the hardest. They test you. They challenge you. They make you question every excuse you've ever used. But that is exactly why they are necessary. Discipline begins with the first decision, because the person you were yesterday cannot create the life you want tomorrow. You must decide. And the beauty of this moment is this. You don't need clarity on everything. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to decide. Decide that your current life is no longer acceptable. Decide that your future is worth the effort. Decide that you will take responsibility. Once you decide, the universe begins to respond. Opportunities start to appear. People begin to notice your focus. Ideas come when you least expect them. Not because life magically changed, because you changed. Your energy shifts. Your perspective shifts. Your actions shift. That is the power of a single, firm decision. And let me warn you, after this moment, nothing will feel the same. You will look back at your old habits, your old excuses, your old fears, and you will realize they were holding you hostage. But the moment you decided, you were free. Free to work. Free to grow. Free to become the person you were always capable of being. That is why so few people succeed. Not because they lack talent. Not because they lack opportunity. They fail because they never decide. They never stop tolerating mediocrity. They never say, enough is enough. And if you are listening right now, I want you to know this. Your life is waiting for your decision. Not tomorrow. Not when conditions are perfect. Not when you feel ready. Today, decide. Decide to stop blaming. Decide to stop complaining. Decide to stop postponing. Decide to act. Because the moment you decide, your old self dies. And a new self begins to rise. A self that takes action. A self that honors commitments. A self that does not quit when life gets hard. And that is the self who succeeds. So ask yourself right now, have you had enough? If the answer is yes, then act. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't negotiate with excuses. The moment you decide you've had enough, everything changes. Because decision is the seed, action is the water, and success is the fruit. Plant the seed today. Nourish it with your courage, and watch your life transform. Enough is enough. How many times have you said that to yourself? Yet, when you look at your life, you see the same patterns repeating, the same mistakes, the same frustrations. Why is that? Because habits are invisible architects. They build your life silently. Every day, every choice, every action. If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always gotten. That is not a theory. It's a law. Success is not a mystery. It's predictable. And predictability comes from habits. The problem is this. Most people want change. Most people want better results. But they are unwilling to change their habits. They want the fruit without planting the seed. And that will never work. Think about it. If your life is not where you want it to be, it is because your daily actions are not aligned with your desires. You can blame circumstances. You can blame luck. You can blame the economy. But the truth is, your habits create your reality. You wake up. You make the same choices. You follow the same routines. You repeat the same behaviors. And life responds exactly as it should. If you are struggling financially, look at your spending habits. If your health is suffering, look at your daily choices. If your relationships are weak, look at how much effort you put in consistently. Change does not happen by complaining. Change happens by changing what you do. This is why enough is enough. It is a statement of awareness. It is a refusal to tolerate mediocrity any longer. But saying it once is not enough. You must act. You must break the patterns that hold you back. You must interrupt the cycle. You must replace old habits with new ones. And here's something powerful. Small habits compound over time. Just 30 minutes a day, a single focused action, can create massive results in a year. Yet, most people ignore this principle. They continue to scroll. They continue to procrastinate. They continue to hope for miracles without effort. And what happens? Nothing. Because repeating the same habits guarantees the same life. Enough is enough. Say it. Mean it. Live it. Enough is enough when you decide to wake up earlier. Enough is enough when you start reading, learning, growing. Enough is enough when you say no to distractions and yes to what truly matters. The person you want to become cannot exist in the same routines that have created your current life. You must evolve. You must upgrade your habits. You must challenge yourself. And change is uncomfortable. It is supposed to be. Comfort keeps you safe. Comfort keeps you small. Comfort guarantees repetition. But discomfort creates growth. Discomfort shapes character. Discomfort is the cost of a new life. The key is to focus on what is essential, not what is urgent, not what is easy. Your daily choices matter more than your dreams, more than your motivation, more than your intentions. Because a dream without action is nothing. A plan without practice is worthless. And habits without discipline are meaningless. So, start small. Start today. Identify one habit that is holding you back. Replace it with a habit that moves you forward. Then repeat. Daily. Consistently. This is how the law of compounding works. This is how ordinary people become extraordinary. Enough is enough. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel like it. Today, decide that repeating the same habits will no longer be acceptable. Decide that the life you want requires a new daily routine, because your future will reflect your present actions. And if you want a new life, you must do new things. Stop blaming. Stop waiting. Stop tolerating what doesn't serve you. Enough is enough. Say it. Believe it. Act on it. Your habits are your life. And the moment you change your habits, you change everything. Remember, repeating the same habits guarantees the same life. Breaking old patterns and creating new habits guarantees transformation. It begins when you declare, enough is enough, and you live like it. Enough is enough. You've said it before, maybe quietly to yourself, maybe out loud in frustration, but saying it once won't change your life. Action does. Most people stay stuck, not because they lack ability, not because they lack intelligence. They stay stuck because comfort is seductive. Comfort whispers, stay here. It's safe. Don't risk failure. Tomorrow will be better. And excuses are its loyal companion. I don't have enough time. I'm too tired. I'll start next week. Sound familiar? These whispers keep people small. They keep dreams just out of reach. They guarantee a life of regret. You see, Comfort is a trap. It's easy to sit in a familiar routine. It's easy to go through the motions. But easy does not create greatness. Easy does not produce success. Change is uncomfortable. It feels unnatural at first. It tests your patience, your courage, your resolve. And that's exactly why it works. Because comfort is the enemy of growth. Excuses are the chains that hold you to your old life. If you want more success, more fulfillment, more purpose, you must step out. You must push against resistance. You must embrace discomfort. The first step is awareness. Notice where comfort is controlling you. Notice the excuses you repeat daily. Notice how they prevent action. Once you see them, you cannot ignore them. Then comes responsibility. Own your choices. Own your routines. Own the life you are living. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop blaming other people. Stop blaming the world. The truth is this: your life is a reflection of the choices you make consistently. And if those choices are rooted in comfort and excuses, your results will be too. So what do? Start small. Replace one comfort with one courageous action. Do one thing today that moves you closer to your goal, even if it scares you. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action in the presence of fear. Next, build momentum. Every small action compounds. Every choice away from comfort strengthens your resolve. Every excuse you refuse weakens its grip. And before you know it, your life begins to change. Breaking free from comfort is not a one-time event. It's a daily practice, a habit, a mindset. Because comfort will always return. Excuses will always whisper. And that's why you must remain vigilant. Stay conscious. Stay disciplined. Remind yourself, enough is enough. Enough is enough of settling. Enough is enough of tolerating mediocrity. Enough is enough of excuses. The moment you commit to breaking free, you take control of your life. No one else can do it for you. No one else can push you harder than life already does. You must rise. You must move. You must act. And here's the beautiful truth. Once you step out of comfort, the world begins to step toward you. Opportunities appear. Confidence grows. Energy multiplies. Momentum builds. And that's how transformation happens. So today, ask yourself, which comfort am I clinging to? Which excuse is holding me back? Then declare, enough is enough. Take one brave step, then another. And soon, the life you once only dreamed of becomes the life you live every day. Comfort and excuses are powerful, but your decision, your action, your courage are stronger. Break free. Live intentionally, and let your results speak louder than your fears. Because the world respects those who respect themselves. And the first respect begins with keeping promises to yourself, stepping out of comfort, and saying, enough is enough. Enough is enough. You've said it. You felt it. You've acted on it. But change does not end with a single decision. Change is a journey, a process, a transformation of who you are. To never settle, you must first become someone worth the life you desire. Most people settle, not because the world limits them, but because they have not elevated themselves. They seek success, wealth, or happiness, while remaining the same person. You cannot outgrow your habits if you don't change them. You cannot outgrow your results if you don't improve your skills. You cannot outgrow your circumstances if you do not change your mindset. The person who never settles is a person of principle, discipline, and action. They honor their commitments. They follow through. They take responsibility for everything in their life. No excuses. No blame. No waiting for permission. They wake up early. They read. They learn. They take consistent steps toward their vision. They understand the law of compounding. They know that small, daily improvements lead to extraordinary results. The person who never settles does not fear failure. They see it as feedback, as a lesson, as a guide to improve. They understand that comfort is the enemy. Excuses are the chains, and action is the key. Enough is enough when you say, I will not settle for mediocrity. I will not settle for someone else's standards. I will not settle for less than my potential. This mindset creates freedom. Freedom to choose. Freedom to act. Freedom to become. But freedom without discipline is wasted. The person who never settles builds systems. They create routines. They manage their time. They prioritize the essential over the urgent. They understand that life rewards those who respect it, who respect their own potential, who respect their commitments. And the most powerful tool they wield is self-trust. Because the moment you keep your word to yourself, you begin to trust yourself. And the moment you trust yourself, you begin to take bigger actions. And the bigger your actions, the greater your results. Never settling is not about perfection. It's about growth, continuous growth. It's about refusing to be defined by your past. It's about refusing to let fear dictate your choices. It's about refusing to accept a life smaller than your potential. Every day, ask yourself, am I becoming the person I need to be to live the life I want? If the answer is no, then change, adjust, act. The person who never settles does not compare themselves to others. They compare themselves to who they were yesterday. They strive to be a little better each day, a little stronger, a little wiser. And over time, these small steps accumulate, transforming habits, transforming mindset, transforming life. Enough is enough when you decide that the life you have will no longer define you. When you decide that the person you are becoming will lead you to the life you deserve. Because settling is easy. It is comfortable. It is safe. But greatness is never safe. Greatness is never comfortable. Greatness is never easy. To never settle is to embrace discomfort, to embrace growth, to embrace responsibility. It is to declare to yourself and the world that your potential is limitless. So rise up, take responsibility, elevate your habits, elevate your mindset, elevate your life, and never, ever settle. Because when you refuse to settle, you create a life that reflects your highest self. A life of purpose, passion, and fulfillment. A life that says, without words, enough is enough. I am ready. I am committed. And I will not stop until I reach my highest potential. Remember, enough is enough. The moment you decide, your life begins to change. Action follows decision. Discipline follows action. Results follow discipline. Rise up, step forward, and never settle. Your future is waiting. The life you deserve is waiting. It starts with you. It starts today.